Regardless of party affiliation, legislators I spoke with tonight tell me that summarizing a 1,700-page budget proposal in the course of a 30-minute speech is certainly no easy task. Well, good afternoon to you, Diana. It most certainly was a sight to be seen here as President Obama and Air Force One arrived here at General Mitchell Airport in Milwaukee. When it comes to keeping kids safe on their way to school, the responsibility falls on three groups: on the crossing guards, on the police, and most importantly, on you, the driver. One resident who lives next door tells me he saw plenty of smoke, but no flames. And while 3 people did escape unharmed from the lower level of this house, unfortunately 2 from the upper level were not so lucky. In the past, some students in the Wausau School District didn't want to receive free and reduced lunch out of concern that others would know. But now that everyone is eligible to receive it, it's a level playing field, ensuring that no one goes hungry this school year. One of the most challenging and perhaps frightening things about car fires is that one minute your vehicle can be just fine, but just minutes later it can be completely engulfed in flames. And before you know it, you're left with this shell of a vehicle. Well, Jeff, here along Highway 10, all evening drivers have been getting prepared, from gassing up their cars to even grabbing a bite to eat as they head out of town. Police say that one of the people living inside this residence admitted to pouring gasoline all over his apartment and then lighting it on fire. And because of that, several families that live inside this building are without a home tonight. It was an extremely emotional day in court as the family of the victim got a chance to address the man face to face who caused a vibrant 2-year-old boy to have to spend the rest of his life in a persistent vegetative state.
I truly want every day of his life to be hell, like he has put my grandson through.
Colton Ouellette will likely never walk, or be able to eat, or take care of himself, nor will he ever have a voice to speak out against his abuser. But Tuesday, members of his family served as his voice, taking the stand describing the round-the-clock care the boy now requires, ever since Brandon Burnett admitted to picking him up by the leg and throwing him at least 10 feet against a wall.
This is irreversible. The damage was so severe. This child had 3 skull fractures.
What other injuries did he sustain?
Every lobe of his brain was injured.
In court Tuesday, Burnett took responsibility and expressed remorse for what he did.
Colton, I'm sorry for hurting you. I had no right to grab you like I did. You did not deserve what happened at the result of my overwhelming emotional state.
An emotional day for a family torn apart by unimaginable tragedy. Now, the young victim in this case was taken to the courthouse today. The judge had an opportunity to see him and meet with some of his caretakers. However, that was done prior to the actual sentencing hearing. Now, a charge of first-degree intentional homicide against Brandon Burnett was dropped back in July. However, if the victim was to die within the next year, that charge could be refiled as part of his plea deal. In Forest County, Ryan Burk, News Channel 7. Each day spent navigating the endless green forests of Price County is a new adventure for Gary Ettinger.
I started peeling pawpaw when I was probably 8 years old.
Ettinger is able to bring down a tree, cut off the brush, and drag it to a clearing, all in the span of about 27 minutes. It's the same amount of time it took him to escape from an almost certain death 7 years ago when a tree fell the wrong way.
I took off running to get out of the way, and I made it at 7 feet, and the butt of that tree then it got kicked sideways, and when it came down, my left leg was just trying to clear a stump that I'd cut previously, and the butt of that tree came down right on the edge of that stump, right where my leg was laying.
It was 15 degrees below zero, 20 miles from the nearest town, and Ettinger was completely alone.
I was preparing myself to see a broken leg. Instead, I didn't have a leg. Just below my knee, the dang thing was gone.
Ettinger was bleeding heavily, and after 3 failed attempts to turn his belt into a tourniquet, his hopes of survival were dwindling.
I remember seeing a blackness, a darkness. Perhaps I started to pass out, I don't know. But it was funny how calm I got. And then this stupid idea come out of the air. What the heck, why don't you see how far you can get?
He decided his only hope was to make it to his tractor and drive it to his pickup truck where he reached for his cell phone in his lunchbox.
911, state your emergency. Hello?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Gary Ettinger. I cut my leg off. I need help.
Within minutes, Ettinger was on a medical helicopter bound for Marshfield. For some, just surviving this ordeal would be enough. But for Ettinger, just surviving wasn't going to do. Have you gone back to the spot at all where it happened?
It was 10 months to the day after the accident. I went back to that job, and the very first thing I did was drove back to that spot and got that tree.
Going back into the woods with a prosthetic leg and taking on challenges is Ettinger's way of coping with life changes.
I couldn't let the woods beat me either. There's this family pride that we have, and to not go back would have been like saying to everybody else that I was a coward, and there's no way I could handle that.
Ettinger is now using his story of survival to inspire others. He's written a book called Will to Live and speaks around the country, all the time aware that not everyone is able to overcome serious injury and make the physical and mental recovery that he has.
I don't mean-mouth anybody who can't get up and get going again. I'm just really lucky. I mean, really lucky. I really thank my stars every day that I have a brain that doesn't know how to get depressed.
It's been 7 years now since the accident, but every day, every step, every tree chopped down is something Ettinger still considers a gift he hopes he can share with the world. In Price County, Ryan Burk, News Channel 7.